All right, I think I have the full plot of Heavensward, and this game is so good that when we went back to our vengeance plot of A Realm Reborn, it seems so boring in comparison. Welcome back, Classic Crew, to another update on Heavensward and my journey to complete it in the next now 4 weeks. I got to finish this before June 30th, which is my pledge. If I fail, the community gets to choose which weapon I use in low rank in my next journey, which is through Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Now, I've made quite a bit of headway in Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward since I was away for a week, so I was doing some weekend streaming to catch up, and I've made it now to level 60. I think I'm getting close to the end because everything seems to be coming to an inflection point. And it's good. There's a lot of good stuff. And last time I was sharing how I was really enjoying the journey of our three main characters, well, four main characters, including ourselves, with Alphino, the Shiva lady, and Estinian, all about trying to create peace between the dragons and the Ishgardians. And man, we have now uncovered so many layers of plot points and deceitness on both sides. It's really unraveling very much like a Game of Thrones story, which, to my understanding, this game was developed around the same time Game of Thrones was really hot and popular. So I wouldn't be surprised if that, the Song of Ice and Fire, influenced Heavensward to some degree. So let's get started. Just to let you know, this journal is going to end at the point where we go to the sky. So I have slayed some dragons. I have reclaimed some eyeballs, reawoken a princess that should have been dead, honestly. And I'm in the sky looking for a key. Actually, I found the key, and we're finding out that all of this is probably heading to a forbidden sky city called Azisla, which is, again, thanks to the frickin' Alligans who are messing up the world with their ancient technology. So let's break it down. Last time I was about to go into the dungeon called Som Al, which was kind of a sanctuary for the dragons, and there we would fight Tiamin, which is one of the sister dragons, from what I understand, to the main dragons, which I really am not good with names. If you guys have been here for a while, you know that. And I cannot for the life of me pronounce the main dragon's name that starts with an H. It's like H with so many letters that should not be together. So we're just going to call him Big H for the sake of my sanity. And his brother, which I've also been laughed at for not being able to pronounce his name, I think it's Knee-Dog or something. We're just going to call him N-Dog. Besides, he's got eye problems, so let's just take the eye away from his name because we're taking it away from his skull too. With that, I also got to say, the song of this expansion, which is not the one, the trailer, but the one called Dragon Song, which my community is like, here's your Heavensward song, hey Jay. This is the new song to your answer, because I really like answers from A Realm Reborn. I was like, I don't like this. But now that I've sucked on the story a little bit more, tasted it, and heard that little tone and that little melody weaved in and out of all these key moments, I have to say I like Dragon Song. I like the melody of Dragon Song. I'm like, oh, maybe now it's the moment that it clicks for me. And so I went back to listen to the original song that my community sent me with the lyrics, and the start, the I'm like, okay, I like that. And then they start singing, it's fine, but the end part where they're really bringing up the vocals and singing really loudly, I don't like that part yet. So it's 50% grown on to me. I like the melody. I like the instrumental version, the lyric part. I gotta spend more time with the lyrics to listen to them and really let the lyrics hit me. And at that point, I might actually enjoy the song more. So yeah, what's it called? Som Al. We slayed Tiamin. N-Dog is not happy. We are now in the land of the dragons, and we have found a new heaven of Mughals in the Churning Mists, where we met some Mughals, and we're like, what the heck, Mughals live here? We should go back and talk to our other Mughals in the forest and being like, yo, can you guys help us see these Mughals? So we go back there, we're like, hey, there's Mughals in the mountain. They're like, holy, what? So we bring them, and they're like, oh, lost cousins. This all ties to the origins or the backstory of Mughals coming from the sky. We're like, oh, we're all descendants of these mountain Mughals. So then all the Mughals get along. We meet Moglin, who introduces us to all these other little Mog fellows. We do all of their bidding in true Mughal fashion so that they respect us, and then they pretty much agree to help us on our way to find Big H. We get to Big H, and we're like, Big H, this is enough bloodshedding. We've fought for 1,000 years, and so we're like, let's make peace. And then, what plot twist? Big H is like, you're not Shiva, you're just a fake god. You think you're Shiva, but you just willed it. So we're like, her whole world just got wrecked all around her. And then the big plot twist at this point was basically it's all the humans' fault. And turns out, I think this is the part where we find out all of the Ishgardians are cursed with the dragon's power, so that if they drink dragon's blood, they all turn into like a Draconian or Dravonia. I don't know what they're called. So this whole time, our band of Merryfellow thought we had heretics that were casting spells to turn into dragons, but it turns out any Ishgardian that drinks the blood of dragons turns into like a humanoid dragon thing. So that's a big plot twist, because it's like, whoa, there's not as many differences as we thought there were between the Ishgardians, and it only gets worse. So at this point, Big H is like, you know what, you guys, like, humans are pretty bad, you're always doing bad things, and you guys started this whole thing, so screw you, no peace, goodbye. And he's like, take it up with Endog, and let's see what he says. So we're like, all right, I guess the only way to stop Endog from burning everybody and attacking us over the last 1,000 years is let's go kill Endog. And Estinian's like, yes, this is what I live for. I'm a Dragoon, let's go. So we go to the Eyrie to slay Endog. The Eyrie was a pretty cool dungeon. I enjoyed it. I liked the Endog fight too. He was actually mechanically challenging. Like we got on the first try, but I have to say, he kept me on my toes. So we kill him, we take away his eye, and I think he slayed properly. And then we get a flashback as another one of our crystals awaken, which, what is up with my crystals reawakening and why were they sealed away? This whole plot line about my inner crystals, I don't get it yet. So, okay, yeah, we get a flashback and we learn that Endog was actually defeated 1,000 years ago by the king and his 12 knights. And he stole both eyes. And I was like, that's the moment when he came out with 2 eyes. Like, aha, we defeated Endog. Why do you have 2 eyes when Estinian only has 1 eye? Where's the other eye? And so now there's this whole mystery about who's got whose eye, and how did Endog have an eye when I just killed him, and why was that eye yellow and not red? So we found out that the old king of Ishgard didn't slay Endog for whatever reason. So Endog ran back to his brother Big H, asked for an eye. Big H was like, sure, here's an eye. So he split his power, revived Endog, which unleashed 1,000 years of pain on the Ishgardians. And then we know that the Azure Dragoon inherited the eye generation after generation, and there's an eye missing that I still don't know what's going on. That's why it was kind of like I couldn't stop streaming. I kept playing because I'm like, what happened to the other eye? I'm so curious to find out. And then we understood that was what ended the lineage of the Ishgardian kings, because what was his name? Haldrath. He was like, I'm gonna like die fighting dragons. I'm not gonna keep leading. You guys figure it out. And out of the 8 knights that remained, 4 were like, well, we could do like, you know, high classes and have houses. I don't know if I wrote those names. And then basically this reveals that not only are the heretics and the like Ishgardians the same, but now we're also finding out the class system is completely BS. That the nobles from the houses are the same kind of like nobility as the people in the slums. Basically, the people in the slums are the descendant of the 4 other knights that said, we don't want to have high houses. We're just going to live our way. So the entire Ishgardian hierarchy and social construct is all based on a lie. And now that we've killed the dragon, which has unified our hate towards the dragons, now we got to deal with all this internal garbage with the Holy See. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. It's just that plot. This whole plot is really interesting, and I'm enjoying digging into it. I skipped so much stuff. Before we even got to the Eyrie, we can't access it because, lo and behold, there's another barrier. And this is going to become like a reoccurring joke, I guess, in this game. Everywhere we want to go has a barrier. So we can't get through the barrier. We go see our boy Sid, who's our barrier buster at this point. We're like, Sid, how do we get through this one? Can we use the Enterprise? He's like, no, we'll be Sid and Ducks. But how about I build you a slicker ship called the Mana Cutter? And this thing is like basically my own personal like R-Wing, which is pretty cool. If the editor doesn't know what I mean by an R-Wing, look up Star Fox. That's what I'm talking about. The Mana Cutter needs time, which is a perfect segue to let's go back to Ul'dah, which I was like, oh my God, I'm so invested right now. Why are we going back to Ul'dah? This is such an old like world, an old story. I completely forgot about it. Scions of the Seventh Dawn, who are they? I don't even care anymore. But anyway, apparently, what's her name? Nanamo is not dead. Apparently she's just been sleeping. And so we got to interview all these people. We get to see Raban back with a really cool cape. And he's got like this like really cool like boar or whatever thing that whatever represents him on his shoulder. Like he just looks cool. He looks healthy. He's been eating. He's ready for his vengeance. We get a tip that, you know, the Sultana is probably alive. She's just been poisoned with like deep sleep stuff, and we have to find an antidote. So we start like interviewing people. We find the antidote, and they're like, okay, go wake her up. So I go wake her up, and everything's back to normal. We kind of somewhat made peace with the Lalafell, whatever his name is, the one that I thought was evil, but now he's like so evil that he's been able to manipulate me to realize I have to work with him. That is like next level evil. This is something I think I said last journal when they were hinting at it, and now that it's confirmed and we've seen the Sultana come back, I feel like it's such a, I don't know why they couldn't commit to her dying. I felt it was such a powerful plot device. I felt it really like drove the player and changed the world. And basically for them to go back and say, oh, just joking, just like, let's take all that hate you had for that Lalafell, let's undo it. Let's undo the Sultana dying. I'm just like, why? Like, I get it. Okay, you got a good thing going here in Ishgard, but like, you don't have to like undo all the good stuff you did in Ul'dah here. So we're basically back to square one in Ul'dah, where they're like, well, I guess we're back together now. We can't get rid of the monarchy. That'd be dumb. So let's keep it under wraps as we are now as a council, and let's start focusing on the Empire. Because we like fighting the Empire. I'm just like, this is not satisfying. Why did we do this? So, and then with that, we kind of go and tie up another plot thread with the Crystal Braves, where Alphinaud needs to kind of finish. He's like, all right, let's just finish it. And then like the remaining Crystal Braves are like, no, we will always be like loyal to you, and we are like the ones that really believe in this. And he's like, oh, cry. I'm assuming this is all going to come back, but I feel Realm Reborn was built up at the end to like do something amazing, and I feel we went on this whole other tangent that was way more interesting, and they just didn't commit to the possibilities that they set up with Realm Reborn. But I could be getting ahead of myself. We'll see what happens. After that, I realized that I was actually high enough level to continue my samurai quest line. So back to my master Musosai, who gave me a bunch of small minor quests, which I was quite surprised at how like not impactful they are narratively. They're very character development, where we basically go to the first 3 main towns, starting in Ul'dah, where we have to deal with like prostitution and dealing with a guy who's like a criminal who's basically enslaving women and prostituting them. And then we go to Limsa to deal with a murderer, which this had a little bit of a fun bit because there was a duty that was quite hard on a boat, and we got to see like basically a Lalafell weeb who really loves samurais and is like collecting swords and all this stuff. And then we go to Gridania to deal with a thief. I feel like we're going through basically all of like the major kind of crimes that exist. And then eventually that took us back to Ishgard. So it kind of naturally brought me back to where the main story quest wanted me to go by doing my side quests. So now I'm at the part where I think I'm at level 58 samurai quest. After this, I spent almost 2 hours cleaning up my inventory. This is something that has plagued me from the start. It's plagued me in other games. Monster Hunter took me so long to get comfortable with inventory management. I had to dedicate a stream just to learn menus and stuff like that. And I was very hesitant to do this for this game, but it just kind of naturally happened where I kept seeing my like inventory filling up in the bottom right. I was like, oh, I really got to deal with this. And then I was just in the zone. I was like, all right, explain it to me. What do I do? And they're like, go back to your inn, go through everything you want to keep from like a visual perspective, put that in your glamour dresser, and sell everything else. And so I spent 2 hours going over all my katanas, all my hats, all my chess pieces. I'm like, I like this, I like this, I like this. I could probably use this. And then I sold everything else. I went through all my items. I'm like, do I need this? They're like, yeah. So that took me a good time to clean it all. Unfortunately, the sins of my past still plague me because a couple weeks ago, I didn't want to do this. I didn't know what to do it. So I just dumped everything in my retainer and maxed them out. And that 2 hours I just mentioned did not include cleaning up my retainer's pockets. It was just cleaning up my pocket. So I still got to go back, empty out my retainer's pockets, clean all that up, and then I'm going to be in a properly managed inventory state, which is rough. Now we're back to the Ishgardian quest line where we learn about the lies of everything. So now N-Dog's dead. Big H has his eye again. He's like, screw you humans. I hate dealing with you guys. And he just leaves. And we learn Sir Emmerich, our boy, is the son or the bastard son of the Pope, who's kind of evil because he's like aligned with the Ascians. Remember those guys, the cloaked figures? And yeah, we get introduced to another character, which I absolutely love, called Hilda, who's like a half-breed between, I don't know the names properly, but a human and an elf, basically. And I feel this character, like if we're going to start some waifu wars here today, Hilda, way more, I mean, it doesn't matter its looks, but we're going to talk about her looks anyways. Way more attractive than, oh my goodness, I forget her name, but the ninja Aura. And that's an improvement because I don't call them dragon people anymore. Was, you know, some people fancied her. And I was like, she was better with the mask on. But I'm saying Hilda I'm in agreement with. And everyone's like, yeah, Hilda's good. So we're in agreement with Hilda being a good waifu. That plot led us to the vault, which is a very climactic dungeon because there's some big things that happen here. So we discover that the Temple Knights have this power to grow, which is like, what the heck is this? How are they doing this? Do they have some kind of like secret? So there's, I think this is tied to that missing eye. I think the Holy See is holding on to the missing eye, or some group out there has the missing eye of Endog. And then the whole thing ends, of course, with the Pope escaping and the Temple Knights. And I really didn't see this one coming, but they killed off our boy, Hochstafan. I don't know why they would kill him. I was still building up like my relationship with him. I think they killed him too soon. And it was like, it shocked me. I'm like, that's a big attack. There's blood coming out of his mouth. Oh my God, are they actually going to kill him right now? And I was like, I don't recall seeing blood in this game. This is pretty serious. And then like, you know, Alpha knows like, I can't heal him. It's too deep. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to kill him right now. And then he goes down like a Chad and he's just like, heroes should always smile, or something like that. And then he dies because I smile back at him. I'm like, oh my God, Hochstafan, I was like really getting attached to you. It was just starting, and they took him away too soon. So all this takes us on a pursuit to the clouds where the Pope escapes, and we're like, okay, we got to get this Pope. So we go to the Sea of Clouds, and here there's the weirdest intersection of everything. While we're exploring the clouds, we learn that the key we're looking after is inside Bismarck, which is a big white whale, which is also a primal. So we're like, all right, we got to go to the neighboring bird people and find out how to get the whale. While doing that, the Empire's here because they're searching for the key. And we're like, oh my God, everybody's searching for the key. So anyways, we make it to the primal fight. I have to say, this fight reminded me so much of the whale hunts in Monster Hunter. It was such a cool fight. You're basically like on this like makeshift island that you hooked up to the Enterprise as bait for the whale. And then it has like these two like basically Dragonators that are like trying to pull the whale to you. And you have a field generator you got to trigger that I learned after when the whale's trying to slam you. Really cool fight. Love the mechanics. And you get like spawns that come in the middle to basically keep you busy until you can jump on the whale and smack it. It was a very satisfying fight. As someone who enjoyed Monster Hunter and the whale fights, like this was right up my alley. So super, super fun. And then beating him revealed that he had the key in his stomach the whole time. Unfortunately, the Pope showed up, took the key, opened the way to Ozzy's Law, and then the Emperor's like, oh, that's where we want to go too. So we met the Emperor of the Empire. He let us live. He has a cool airship too. He took off for Ozzy's Law. And then I'm like, I'm going to go there. And then lo and behold, another freaking barrier. And that's where I pretty much left off. We got to figure out how we're going to get into Ozzy's Law, which means we have to figure out how we're going to break this barrier. So we're chugging along. I'm getting close to the end of 3.0, it feels like. And I think some of the chat has confirmed. And then it's all the patches. The patches is really the thing I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish before the end of the month, because I'm only limited to about 12 hours streams per week just from my own personal schedule. So I'll keep you updated on that. It might be a little while till the next journal update. It's going to get a little crazy here in my personal life, but I'll see you either on stream or on the next video. And until then, keep it classy.